Joining us now, former CBO Director Doug Holtz-Eakin, and look who's here, former advisor to former President Trump. He's Stephen Moore. It's good to see you, gentlemen, tonight. Okay, let's talk about the real State of the Union. Douglas, first to you. Why is the president waiting until May to stop the state of emergency for COVID?
I have no idea. I mean, he personally declared it over months ago. Most people believe that the U.S. economy exited it in early 2021. So this is giving up powers more than anything else. He gives up a lot of executive authority when he ends the public health emergency, and that's probably why they held on to it so long. But they haven't used those powers very effectively, Liz. The president was dealt a great hand. He inherited an economy that had about 1.5% inflation, 6.5% GDP growth. 2 years later, those numbers are roughly reversed. And in between, we've really seen a mishandling of the macroeconomic economy, and we're paying for it right now.
So what Douglas just said, Stephen, it's, you know, the president is about to show a false picture to the world next week and to America about the state of the economy. Even CNN has already fact-checked the president's growing number of wildly false claims. He claimed like he funded 700,000 construction projects last year. No, he didn't. It was 7,000. To what Douglas just said, he inherited a economy on the upswing. And now Gallup says America's #1 problem, Steve, is government and bad leadership.
Yeah, that's for sure. And just to add to what Douglas was talking about, I would let your viewers know that by expanding and extending the declaration of COVID emergency, more government benefits to people, Liz, and this president has just showered all of these welfare benefits on people, and this is a lot of the health care benefits that people are getting for free would go away when the emergency is over. And I wanted to repeat what you said earlier, that the student loan forgiveness, this is so incredible. He asserts executive authority to do the student loan forgiveness because of the COVID emergency. Liz, what does that have? What does student loan forgiveness have to do with COVID? So this is a president who uses every possible excuse to expand the budget. He will try to take a victory lap on the budget next week, and that is, talk about, you know, lowering expectations. I mean, come on. We, as Doug has just said, we should be growing at 3%, 4%, 5% coming out of COVID, and we're growing at half that pace.
Yeah, that's right. So to what Steve just said, Douglas, you know, by the way, the president he's on track, Doug, for the 3rd year in a row not to even turn in his own presidential budget. So the real problem is the economy is going upside down under Biden. What Steve found, millions are dropping out. The government is paying more people not to work. 10 million now not working. 7 million working age men dropping out. And even government workers not showing up. Watch House Oversight Chair James Comer on this, and watch House Majority Leader Steve Scalise.
Americans have suffered because of the federal government's detrimental pandemic-era telework policies. Recent reports show that 2 out of 3 workers still haven't returned to their office full-time. President Biden's unnecessary expansion of telework has crippled the ability of agencies to get their jobs done and created massive backlogs.
Going back the last 2 years, when everybody's looking for workers, Joe Biden was paying people not to work, and millions of people took him up on it. Those people are not paying into Social Security. When Joe Biden is paying them your tax dollars to sit at home and not work, they're not paying into Social Security. That, what Joe Biden did, undermines Social Security. So he did it. He doesn't want to get the blame for it. Nobody thinks that you should have to pay for somebody else sitting at home who's able-bodied and is able to work. They're 35 years old. They just don't want to work.
What do you think, Douglas?
Well, these are all examples of the importance of supply-side growth policies. And this administration has one trick. You know, demand-side stimulus always produces inflation. They've got a supply-side policy that's higher taxes. It's not going to work. Less incentives for people to go to work. That's not going to be effective. And quietly, they are one of the most burdensome regulatory regimes we've ever seen. In his first year in office, he imposed $200 billion. That's about $200 billion of stealth taxes in the form of regulations on the U.S. economy. Followed it up with another $100 billion in the second year and has another $100 billion in process. This is, you know, hundreds of billions of dollars a year in tax increases. Not a surprise we're not growing. There's no strategy to let the American economy grow.
Yeah, and to what Douglas just said, you found this out too, Steve. It pays more to get government handouts in a growing number of states than it pays to be a teacher or an electrician or a construction worker, right? Or a firefighter or a truck driver. I mean, that's turning the economy upside down.
Yeah, that, just to be specific, that would be for a couple both receiving unemployment benefits. And, you know, that's unfair to the people who are working hard, the construction workers, the nurses, the people working in manufacturing and factories who are working a hard 40 hours a week and come home and the guy next door is on government benefits and getting just about as much as they are. But I wanted to give you one other statistic, as you were talking about some of the statistics that Biden has lied about. And this is when he keeps saying that he's lowered the deficit by $1.4 trillion. Liz, you've heard him say that multiple times. So I was trying to figure out what he was talking about. Well, what he did was he came in and he massively expanded the deficit to $2.8 trillion in 2021. And then it came all the way down to $1.4 trillion, which is still practically a record in debt. And he's celebrating. He's uncorking champagne that we're only borrowing $1.4 trillion this year.
Yeah, because the pandemic spending's going, the relief is expiring. You know, we're in the other side of the mirror. We're falling through the looking glass with this White House. Douglas Holtz-Eakin and Steve Moore, thank you so much. It's good to see you.